Hello, everybody. Welcome. I would like to welcome you to the new moon of Scorpio. And we're going to talk a little bit about that so we can get the best out of this month of Scorpio collectively and, of course, individually. So let's go right into it. Scorpio is known for its power, its intensity. If you know anyone born under the sign of Scorpio, well, I probably don't have to tell you that it's intense, can be intense. And there's a reason for that. Scorpio, by the way, is known as one of the most powerful months. And the new moon of Scorpio is also considered among the Kabbalists one of the most powerful days of the year without being a specific holiday. And so it's a lot of positive energy in the new moon of Scorpio, but in the rest of Scorpio, it's best to it's okay. It's not a negative month, but you need to be careful, and I'll explain to you what I mean exactly. So again, intensity is the name of the game. Another fun fact, let's say, is on the 17th day of lunar Scorpio, again, not the 17th day on the English calendar, but the 17th day of lunar Scorpio is the flood of Noah. That's the day, according to the Bible, when the flood occurred in the Noah story, and there was destruction. Destruction as the result of water. Now, water is generally a life-giving force, okay? And it's interesting because if you read the Bible text we just read, began the Bible again in Genesis, Bereshit, and in the first day of creation, we read something very interesting about water, that the Spirit of God hovered over the waters. Ruach Elokim merachefet al pnei hamayim. What does it even mean? The Spirit of God hovered over the waters. Now, there was no discussion about creation of water. No, doesn't exist. It's almost like water just seemed to appear out of nowhere on the first day of creation. So it doesn't say that water was created. What it does say is the Spirit of God, whatever that means again, Elohim, was hovering over the waters. All right, and what we should understand, the first thing we can understand from this is the power of water exists in Scorpio. And we know also that Scorpio is a water sign. Now what does that have to do with anything? We know that those born under the sign of Scorpio, we can learn from them. They can come at you at any time with a lot of intensity, let's say. Again, generally powerful people, especially the women. I don't want to say more so than the men. Of course, it depends on the men, but it is one of those constellations that the men and women are different in born under Scorpio. Also Leo, also Pisces, so there are certain constellations where the men and women are different. We won't say better or worse, but act differently within that constellation. Example would be Leo. Leo women are certainly more powerful or controlling. Generally, it's not a rule, but Leo men can be more lazy because that's how it is in the jungle, right? A Leo lion kind of sits around and is the king, where the woman lion, the lioness, goes out for the kill, and she takes care of the young. And the man, he supervises. So there is a difference also, because when a constellation is different, and again, it's not always the case, but it is in some cases, because women are innately, internally judgment. Men are internally mercy. Again, we can't go into now all the ramifications of that. Women externally are inherently mercy, where men externally are judgment. They are clothed in judgment. So again, we are male and female are reverse. In case anyone has any questions, what is a male and what is a female, a man and a woman? Well, they are very different. They have different innate energy forces. But of course, you must understand things on an energetic level, not on a superficial, or ideological level. That's not where we are. We want to understand energetically things internally, because that's what's running the show, the internal of things. The, metaphysical world is running the physical world. And so, to that, if we understand that, then we understand that Scorpio women can be much more judgmental than Scorpio men. It can come. But on the other side, they're also more powerful and positive with their energy. Potentially. Again, not to say that men aren't, the men Scorpios are not powerful. They can be, again, also very powerful. But the tendency is the women have more intensity. Let's put it that way. And because of that intensity, again, if you know intimately a female Scorpio, well, it's good to be on the good side of that person all the time. You don't want to be on the receiving end of the din, the judgment, because they can finish you in a second. And, but it's interesting that, my teacher always used to say, if you get the business, that was the expression, if you get the business from a Scorpio, listen to what they're saying, because they're telling you the truth. And they are truth tellers in that sense, because they hate lies. They don't like lying at all. Now, there's a reason for this, okay? Obviously, there's a metaphysical reason for this, because in a certain way, they are connected very much with the truth. The sign of Scorpio is connected with the truth. So, if we go into it again from the, metaphysical side or the Kabbalistic side, which we'll talk some secrets about the month of Scorpio, we understand that the constellation of Scorpio, first off, comes after all the holidays, the Rosh Hashanah, the Yom Kippur, and the holiday of Sukkot have been all completed. And the spiritual light, when we've completed all those events, there's a tremendous spiritual after effect, if you will, as a result of those holidays, and we call it an abundance of mercy. There is an abundance of mercy. What is the meaning of this abundance of mercy, and what is it connected to? So mercy is characterized by the element of water. From the three elements, and according to the Kabbalah, there are three elements, and then the result element. Three causal elements, which is fire, water, and air. Okay, air, fire, and water. And the manifestation element, as the result of those are, yes, you guessed it, earth. So earth is not considered a root element, but the result of air, fire, and water element. Obviously, something is more causal and something is more effectual. So, and that's why earth is slower. But it manifests things. But it's not, since it's not cause is more quickly, it's more fast, right? Fire is very fast. Air is fast. Water is flowing. Earth is still, stands still. Again, but it manifests. That's why we must have the earth to manifest things, whether we're speaking spiritually or we are speaking physically. You put the seed in the earth in order to manifest the tree or whatever it is. And things that are manifestation are considered energetically earth, even if they're not. Like a woman is also part earth. She's a manifestor, but she's also part mercy. Anyway, I don't want to confuse things. Sorry. But so the thing with Scorpio is there is an abundance of mercy as the result of the holidays. Now, there's two sides to that, because the force of mercy is present and the force of fire is also present, as I'll explain in a moment, because you have fire and water. You have the intensity of fire and the mercy of water. And let me explain how that bears out. Now, fire and water can both be either negative or positive, right? We understand that. Fire burns, obviously. That's the negative side. So too much intensity of heat, not good. But on the other hand, fire, we need fire. Fire is heat, is warmth, is life, sun. I mean, again, we need that. And the same with water. Water is life-giving. Without water, there is, no life. But on the other hand, too much water is a flood, and a flood destroys. And that's the Noah and the flood story, which again occurs in Scorpio on the 17th day of lunar Scorpio. So again, that's too much of a good thing is not a good thing. So what is it that's going on really intrinsically in Scorpio to cause these forces both to be present, creation and destruction? And it's literally the power of creation or the power of destruction in the same place. It's interesting about most Scorpions, when they come into a new situation, be it a new job or a new situation, whatever the case may be, their tendency is to destroy everything first and then rebuild it, okay? The way they would like to see it, the way they feel will be, much, much better, of course, in their image, so to speak. So destroy, flatten it out, and rebuild. All right. We're not here to discuss the tikkun or the spiritual karmic corrections of Scorpio, but we have to understand the same energy exists in the constellation. We're all affected by it. So what we want to understand for this month is how to deal with it. So there's this abundance of mercy. This abundance of mercy is the result of the holidays. All the holidays energy, this abundance of mercy that again is the result from the holidays that we had in Libra, manifest in Scorpio. That's why there's no need for a holiday. There's so much energy in Scorpio, it's difficult to deal with, except in the new moon. The first 2 days of the new moon, which if you're watching this today, sorry, the date escapes me, but on the new moon of Scorpio, the first 2 days of Scorpio are the most powerful days on the calendar without having to be specific holidays. But the rest of the month, it can be unhinged, okay? Energy can be like, running amok, unless we know how to harness it, and then it's amazingly powerful. I mean, for me, I love the month of Scorpio. Not a lot of people, not everybody loves Scorpio. I do. Why? Because it tells the truth. And I'm interested in that. I'm interested in understanding the truth about myself. What does that mean? And here's what to pay attention to in the month of Scorpio. Pay attention to all the messengers that will be sent to you, because invariably, on a personal level or environmental level, but I'm not going to get into the discussions of wars and so on, the things that are going on currently. I want to stick with the personal level of things, because when we change our inside, the world around us will also change. Messengers will come to us this month to tell us things we may not want to hear. But no, there's a true message for you. Why? Because it's Scorpio. Scorpio will tell you the truth. Scorpio will tell you what you need to do. Scorpio will tell you what you shouldn't be doing. The message in Scorpio especially should be paid attention to. Why? Because the constellation of Scorpio is a truth teller. It might come across harsh, but you have to, stick to your guns. Don't speak, don't talk back. Take it in. It can feel like a fire, okay? It can feel intense like fire, like burning, like you're being burnt. But accept it as a purification. Accept it as a fire that's purifying you and making you ready for what you need to do next, for your next step in life, even. Yes, it has that power for the next stage of what you need to be ready for to go to your next highest level. If you take it on that way, without defending yourself, without, again, I'm talking about a harsh criticism. I'm talking about, something that might come out of nowhere, someone that gives you something or tells you something or insults you. Again, It's to help you purify. I'm not talking about abuse from anybody, okay? God forbid. But we're talking about normal human interactions. Could be at work, could be something your boss needs to tell you, something your loved one needs to tell you, your partner needs to tell you, and might be out of the blue. Again, and you can feel, you know what, this is too much. This is too harsh. This is, no. I'm gonna tell them what's wrong with them. No, big mistake, especially this month. In general, it's a mistake to answer back right away. The first step in spiritual growth is learning how to take the criticism, even it's harsh criticism, even it's insulting, even it's out of place, especially if it's out of place, especially if it's out of the blue. Why? When it's out of the blue, we should know it's coming from somewhere. The universe wants to give us a message, but, our ego is hurt and, all the whatever, they're wrong. And, maybe, but they're not. There's always going to be a truth in the message, and that's what I need to hear. If you're busy defending yourself, it means your ego has already been activated, and your ego is already fighting back, and you're not going to get anything out of this message. So kind of, it's almost like, so the light wasted its time with you. So, maybe you won't get any messages for whatever. I don't know how long. Because depending on how much you're intent on fighting against what the cosmos wants to teach us or show us, relay to us, there's always messages available. Again, in general, when we get those types of messages, we should, number one, listen. And then, after 3 days, 5 days, a week, if there's something you feel that needs to be said to the other person and so on, okay, I'm not saying don't say anything, never say anything. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying step one is to always listen, take it in, accept the message, find what it means to you. Don't kick it out completely. Because again, there's always light there. Intensity, judgment is light without the covering. What does that mean? Well, Scorpio, again, especially Scorpio. Scorpio is called Akrav in Hebrew. Akrav. What is Akrav? The scorpion. The scorpion. Now, in Hebrew, the 4 letters that make up the Scorpio, Akrav, is Ayin, Kuf, Resh, Bet. So you have Ayin and Bet at the end of the word. For those of you who know Hebrew, Ayin Bet 72, which if you study the Kabbalah, that should be a significant number to you, 72. That relates to the 72 names. But the 2 letters in the middle are Kuf and Resh. Kuf and Resh is Kar, cold, cold. And so we've just described the letters which completely can describe the Scorpio, especially if that individual is not a spiritual individual, okay? Not spiritually tuned. Extreme fire, which is the Ayin Bet, the light of wisdom, which is pure light. It's pure fire. It's pure judgment. And incidentally, the letters that of the month also are Din, judgment, Dalid, and Nun. Dalid for Mars, the war planet, and Nun, which stands for falling, Nephilah, which is the constellation of Scorpio. So again, there's a lot of different things we could get into now. We can't because it's already, it will be too much. But there's nature of judgment completely in this month. Fire, but again, light is also judgment. We don't understand that necessarily. Light must have a harness. It must have the mercy to balance the judgment. But pure light is judgment. It's a pure judgment, which is not a bad thing, but it's only the fact that we're not ready for it. We can't handle pure light. Nobody can. It's like pure sunlight. Can you look directly into pure sunlight? Can you take pure sunlight? No, none of us can. We're not built for it. Doesn't mean it's bad, but we need what we call the light of mercy. We need the ability, we need insulation to be able to handle it. Electricity is a wonderful thing, but putting our finger in the socket is not a wonderful thing. we can't handle it. We need a receptacle. We need an ability to receive it. And that's why I said generally during the middle of the month, in the new moon, you have that. It's automatic. That's why it's so powerful, the first 2 days of the month. But the rest of the month doesn't have a insulation. So what can we do to benefit the most from this huge energy in the month of Scorpio? Well, I will tell you. It's what I said. It's being willing to handle and accept the heat of the judgment, the heat of the truth, the fire of being able to handle the insult. Because when we do that, invariably, we're going to get it from somewhere. And then we'll react to it. And when we react to it, we'll set off a chain reaction. So if you're able to be strong enough not to fall into the traps of whatever the insults might be, whatever the truth, even and especially, but you're right and they're wrong and the situation is wrong. No, and I'm including situations into this equation too. Not just individuals, but situations that come and they're not to your liking, but the situation is somehow giving you the truth. Okay? Again, if it relates to you personally and your own tikkun, your own karmic correction, if you will. When it affects you personally, it's true for you and you need to hear it. There's something you need to do, something you need to learn. Again, accepting these things in this way in the month of Scorpio enables you to handle the tremendous light of Scorpio, which is also available. And you will see the benefits shortly after. But if you fall into the trap, you get tangled in a web. And you'll think, Scorpio, oh my God, it's such a terrible month. And, it might play out that way. Again, not because it's a terrible month, but because you become entangled with the judgment and it becomes like, a chain reaction. You react to this and something else happens because you didn't handle this and something else. So it's true. We should walk a fine line. But if we're ready with love, and love is mercy, mercy handles this energy of judgment. If you're ready with sharing capability, if you are willing to accept the difficulty or painful situation, which is also awakening the light of mercy, that's present. It's already here. We don't need to look for the light of mercy. We just need to, push the buttons. Then this month, again, like I tell you, I love this month. This month can turn out to be one of the most powerful months of the year for you, full of light and blessings, and it can feed you, and help you make manifest all the light of the holidays and everything else that's present for us now. Again, so let's do our best not to fall into those traps of truth, and let's get the most out of the month of Scorpio. Chodesh Tov. Have an amazing month, everybody. Be blessed. And I'll see you very soon in the next video.